I saw some reviews for the Marvels, and all the YouTubers I follow were talking about how bad it was, and they were screaming expletives and falling out of their chairs and laughing hysterically talking about this movie, and I'm thinking, come on, it can't be that bad. Oh, I was not prepared for how incompetent this movie is. The Marvels is easily the worst film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's way worse than The Eternals, it's worse than Thor, The Dark World, it's worse than Morbius. The Marvels stars Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, Teyonah Parris as Monica Rambeau, and Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel. And long story short, these three characters, two of which were introduced in Disney Plus TV shows, need to stop a villain played by Zawe Ashton from stealing the atmosphere, water, and sun from other planets to rebuild her own. I consider myself a pretty loyal Marvel movie fan. I don't like all the Marvel movies, but except for Black Widow and Ant-Man 3, I've seen every MCU film. And I had no idea what the heck was going on. If you're like me and you just watched the Marvel movies, you're done. It's over. Marvel is over for you. This movie was catered specifically to the 500 people who have watched all the MCU Disney Plus series. Every 15 minutes I wanted to yell in the theater, "What is happening? And who the heck are you?" I have so many questions, like why is Nick Fury on this space station with these random people in white spacesuits, and what are they doing there? And Kamala's dad asks one of the workers there, "How old are you?" And this 30-year-old looking man says, "I'm 306 years old." And I'm screaming in my mind, why? Why are you 306 years old? Why is Carol Danvers just floating around in space in her one-room bachelor pad spaceship? What does she do now? Does she have a job? Like, where was she going before Nick Fury called her? Somebody installed a wood chipper in the Marvel editing room and just shredded this movie to pieces. It felt like the screenwriters had to deliver the script by telegram to the three amigos, but they didn't have enough pesos to send the entire script, so they had to get the 10 peso version. That's a Three Amigos reference. Or rather, it feels like you had a school assignment due in the morning and you spent all night working on it, but then an hour before class you realize you misread the instructions and you have 30 minutes to redo it before the bus arrives and you just pray that it's not bad enough for you to fail your class. We're jumping from planet to planet and people are switching places and people are disappearing and reappearing for minutes at a time, and it's just really difficult to watch. This easily has the worst action of any Marvel movie, and it has some of the worst special effects shots in the MCU. There's a ton of wasted potential here. They have a flashback scene where Captain Marvel goes to destroy the Supreme Intelligence, which is a big AI computer that rules the Kree species. And you look at it in the comics and you think, wow, this would be a most luminous special effects shot. But then she arrives and the Supreme Intelligence is just in a really big closet in the corner of some boring building down a random hall, and it's kind of in the shape of a green face. Nobody thought that could be cool to dedicate a little more time and effort to that scene? The finale is absolutely pathetic. The villain opens a hole in space to suck the sun through it, and she's just standing on the deck of some generic dark gray or dark green ship. And then the three Marvels appear and they shoot some of their moonbeams at each other, and then it's over before it even begins. Nothing makes sense in this movie. Like, the bad guy gets the two wrist bracelet bangle things, and as she puts them on, Captain Marvel shouts, "Don't! You won't survive!" You won't survive what? How do you know that? Why does she even need to have both bracelets in the first place? Her plan is clearly working perfectly well with just one bracelet. It especially doesn't make sense because after the bad guy dies from wearing too many bracelets, Kamala Khan then wears both of them and she's totally fine. And I'm thinking, I thought you said that would be bad. And then at the end of the movie, the second bangle disappears again. Kamala Khan is just wearing one bangle, and I have no idea where the other one went. Or in another example, in the finale, the bad guy just opened a portal, nothing has started yet, and then Carol Danvers flies onto the deck of her ship really casually, and she says, "Dar-Ben, it's over." What do you mean it's over? It just started! Captain Marvel's powers are also very inconsistent. She was able to beat up Thanos in a fist fight, but now it's a challenge to fend off a couple of Kree henchmen. Also, since Kamala also has a bracelet, doesn't that mean she should be at least as powerful as the villain? Shouldn't she be able to undo the bad woman's portals? Why does each bracelet have a different set of powers? I said this before, but just to expand upon it a little bit, the editing is so sloppy that people just appear in places where they shouldn't be and holding things that they shouldn't. Like our three heroes are going up an elevator to attend a party on a planet where the people communicate through song, and then Carol says, "We're here," and the doors open and they walk in and Rambo says something like, "Oh dang, this is nice." And she's holding 2 drinks in her hand out of nowhere, and one of them is already empty. You know how in your high school film class, your teacher will show you examples of movie scenes where they incorrectly edited a scene together? Like your teacher will show you 2 weeks' notice, and in one shot, Hugh Grant will be holding a spoon, and then when it cuts to a different angle, he's holding a cup, and then when it cuts back, he's holding the spoon again. They will be using this movie to show film students how not to edit a film. The humor is pretty bad. It's not as bad as Spider-Man Homecoming or Spider-Man No Way Home, both of which I felt were ruined by the silly jokes. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but oh my gosh, those movies bugged the crud out of me. But Kamala Khan's family is in this movie quite a bit, and they do that joke I really don't like, where normal people react to extraordinary things like they're minor inconveniences. I don't know, if I'm a husband and 2 alien men in full armor carrying bladed weapons teleported into my living room, would I sit there and say something silly like, excuse me, who are you? And then grab a mop to defend my wife and children? Or would I stand up and yell, "What are you doing in my house? Janet, get in the closet, call 911! There's a post-credit scene where Kamala Khan recruits Kate Bishop, who is a young female Hawkeye. And I'm just wondering, how did we go from Tony Stark burning Al-Qaeda alive with flamethrowers and blowing everybody's nips off with his "I am Iron Man" line at the end of the movie, to teenage girls saying, "You think you're the only kid superhero in the universe? I'm putting together a team and I want you on it. Please?" Spoiler alert, in the mid-credits scene, Monica Rambeau wakes up in another dimension and she's in a hospital with her mom who doesn't recognize her, and then Beast from X-Men walks in. It's 100% CGI and it's just barely above She-Hulk level special effects, so shame on them. I think it's Kelsey Grammer's voice, but who cares? You really think I want you to get your hands on the X-Men or Daredevil, for goodness sakes? Marvel is done, it's over, and it makes me sad.